Hello, I'm Janelle Shalla. In this video, I'd like to say a word or two about moldavite. Now, moldavite's a bit difficult to discuss in a short video because there has been so much information written about it. There are at least 2 books on the healing properties and working with it. There are mentions of it in a number of crystal healing books. You'll be able to find a lot of information online. So I do recommend, if you want to know more about it, go buy one of the books. I can't tell you everything it does in a very short video. But before I start telling you too much about it, let me just show you what it looks like. Now, this is a fairly small piece. It's thin, and that's actually very good for giving you an idea of what it's like. Because with the thinness, you can see how glassy it is. It is actually a glass. Technically, it's a glass. And it is a lovely, clear olive green shade. It's the gemmiest of the tektites, which I'll discuss in just a moment, and it's probably the only one that's actually made into jewelry, although apparently all of the tektites were worn by Neolithic peoples as some sort of talisman. We don't know what they would have used them for, but there's evidence of them having been worn. Okay, what are tektites? This is an area of a lot of confusion when people are talking about moldavite. I hear people say it's a meteorite. I hear people say that it's a combination of a meteorite mix blended up with the crust of the earth. Not quite true. It starts as a meteorite. It's a result of meteoric activity, but what happens is slightly different. It burns up in the Earth's atmosphere, and you're left with a giant fireball. The fireball then strikes a sandy surface of the Earth, melting the sand and creating a glass. Now, this all gets thrown up in the air because you can imagine this is at a huge rate of speed, crashes into the Earth, melts everything really quickly, goes up into the air, and you get these little droplets that actually solidify before they hit the ground. So really extraordinary surfaces on them. I'll show you in just a moment some of that. If you think about, there was a giant fireball that hit Siberia, and a lot of people actually filmed it in January of 2013. That gives you an idea of what happens. There isn't much of the meteorite, there isn't much of any of the meteorite left in this fireball. It's just the fireball, and it melts the surface that it hits. But it has to be sandy because sand contains quartz. Sand is basically ground down quartz, and that is the main constituent of glass, hence finding a glassy substance. There are a number of other tektites. Most of them come in blacks or very, very dark greens, and none of them are as clear as this. This is another example, and what I was telling you about it cooling down as it's falling out of the sky, this will give you an idea of what happens then. You get this extraordinary surface to it, very, very highly defined, but it looks like something that's just simply been caught mid-liquid. Very, very unusual. Now, as for healing properties, there are people who use the tektites, all of the tektites, for communication with extraterrestrial life forms. That is a relatively small number of people. This isn't something that everybody does, and mostly what moldavite is used for is inner work. As I'm talking about the inner work, I want you to have a look at this extraordinarily beautiful piece. Now, this is very, very explosive, much larger, and it will also give you an idea of how we grade moldavite. Moldavite is graded not by the clarity, the color, etc. that you get with gemstones. It's graded by the size and by the definition of the surface of it. You can see this really clear surface and really highly defined. If it's been sat on the surface of the earth and it's weathered, hasn't been mined, hasn't been dug out of the earth, then you'll get something that's much flatter and smoother, and that's not as valuable. Now, as far as moldavite goes as a healing crystal, as I said, it's mainly for inner work, and there are 4 levels that this works on. The first of which is potential. Melody talks about this, potential of just about everything. You can start working with it, and different people will pull different elements out of it. they will find different ways it works. This is why there are so many different books written about it and so much information, because everyone who works with it will find it works in a different way for them. So you can use it in that way just to see where you go from there. Now, Robert Simmons talks about transformation. It is a transformational stone. This is a stone that will help you work on moving yourself from one state of existence to another. And we're talking on quite a high level here. And the fourth thing that it does, or sorry, the third thing it does, I'm thinking ahead of myself there. The third thing that it does is it works with the interdimensional work. So if you're trying to work above the 3 dimensions of the physical 3D world that we're in, if you're trying to go beyond that, this is a really good stone to work with from that point of view. And the fourth element of it is compassion, because it is a heart stone. Being green, it works with the heart, and it helps you to find that really deep, loving compassion for all of humanity. So there's a lot of really good things about Moldavite, but I'm going to end with a little word of warning. Moldavite is very powerful, and it's also very ungrounding. People who wear it will tend to get a bit ungrounded, so whatever you're doing with your transformational work, you still need to earth it into your body. You still need to bring it in. So I recommend working with it for a period of time and then using a grounding crystal afterwards to bring you back into your body and work on a physical level.